guys, welcome back to another video. In this one we'll be designing a website, more specifically a form input from scratch. I'll be showing how I'm going to design it and how I'll code it out. I'll try to keep this under 20 minutes, so I won't be adding too much JavaScript, so it'll be mainly HTML and CSS. I don't think I'll be adding any JavaScript, but you can follow along. It does have to be 20 minutes for you. I just want to show you my process of how I do it. So if you found this video helpful, make sure to subscribe and like, as it will help me out. And comment down below if you have any questions, and let's get right into it. I've got a empty VS Code file and I've named it form tut, and there's no files in here, so I'm going to keep it like that for now. I'm going to go to a design tool called Figma. You could try to test it out or watch YouTube how to use it. I won't demonstrate how to use Figma in this video, but I've gone to Figma. I create a frame, and this is the dimensions I gave it, and I named it form. And what I want to do first is give it a back gradient, because I want my form background to be white. So I've pulled up this called gradient color inspo. So I'm just gonna close. Well, can I not close that? Yeah, I've closed that. And perhaps I could do like a black background, but I'm just gonna have a quick scroll through. Maybe a black. I'll try black, see how that looks. I'm gonna copy this. I'll actually let me actually make a quick file here. Copy paste it somewhere. This is RGB value actually. Can I not get the hex? Okay, so I'm just gonna, yeah, I can actually put RGB in here. So I'm gonna make it a linear, so it's that way around, and I'm gonna copy and paste this and put it in as, actually put it in here. And the last value should be this, and it should be a blackish color, and we'll do, yeah, grayish color. We'll do this 100% opacity, and now we'll get, oh, there's 3 breakpoints. So what we'll need to do is create another breakpoint, apparently towards the center. I think it's a breakpoint, so we'll copy and paste this. I'm just gonna quickly do this, may forward the video. Okay, so we don't need this anymore, so we're going to delete this file. We can delete this right now, move to recycle. We'll delete that file. Let's see how this looks. Yeah, it looks like that. This looks pretty decent. So far we have a background for a form. So this is going to be our page. This is going to be a single page, as I should have mentioned. So what we'll do now is get a square, and I want to have it where it's so we can do it, we'll do it a bit like that, and then have it 700. I'll just write this stuff here, 700 and 500, and that should be good. I want this to be a white with a grayish border, so I want to add a stroke, maybe 2 pixels, and add like a grey border towards this area. So we've got, this is where our form is going to live. Here we can decide whether we want like a circular form type, or we can keep it squarish. I'm going to add like a little bit of a as a rotation bit, a little bit of a border, a border radius, so it doesn't look too sharp. But you can have it where it's pretty big and you can have it circular, but I'm gonna go for like a squarish theme, so that's a little bit of border. So now what we need to do is put in our inputs, and how we can do that is have a rectangle. I like to do the rectangle first and the labels second. We'll do this 375 to 475 375 to let's just say 45. Put this down towards here. So we're going to do this and then give it like a margin of 20, so for 10 it should be, perhaps a bit more because there's too much space on the right. Yeah, perhaps we should actually put it just in the middle. Yeah, look better in the middle. So what we need to do now is add a label. So we're going to do a label of name. We're gonna give this a font of Poppins. You may need to download this Google Fonts. Google Fonts here. We go Google Fonts, and we can easily download Poppins. Just write Poppins here, and I have Poppins stored on my PC, but I think Poppins comes with Figma, and we'll make this size of 24. Make it longer. If you double tap this bottom right corner, it'll auto fit everything for us. So we could snap it on here. Let's see how that looks. We'll add a bit of margin, a bit of padding actually, and we can just do that by adding y value of 10, so 90. Actually it'll be minus 10 because we want to go upwards, so it will be 70, and there we go. One last thing we need to do is, well, a couple of things we need to do is give this a softer edge, and then we want no fill because it's going to be input, so we'll have a no fill, and we'll delete this, but we need a stroke, and this stroke could be basically the stroke of our side here, so we'll copy paste that, add that in, and we'll see. Perhaps like a darker. Actually, let me keep you that. Add like another layer of width, and that looks pretty decent. We could change the colors, but I'll come back to colors soon. So now I press shift, or you can just control them here, and I just shift all and drag them down, and I want them to have like 25, if I can have it 25. Let me just zoom in a bit more so I can make it more specific. So 25, actually I'm doing more, 50, 51, we don't have to be too specific, we'll do 51, and we'll keep those. So we can do name, email, and if we do this as a login, I think rather than a form, we'll do like a user form, we'll do like a login form. So we'll do password, and there we are, and here should be username. So this will be like creating one, so let's just have one more password. So I think these are too far apart, so let me group these, this with that. Oh, let me group this with that. Now grab them all together, and now let's just make that 30 instead. Let's see how that looks. Yeah, 30 gives us way more space at the bottom. So this looks like a pretty decent form so far. Now last thing to do is add a button, and we can do a simple square. We'll do the width of the form, and we could do a bit shorter. So we can, I'll show you two designs we could do. We'll do 45 here, and what we'll do is have this a specific color, so we could grab the color from the background. So we could, let's just get the middle color, put this to hex, it'll give it the hex, and put this as the button color, and keep it consistent with the border. So I think that looks a bit too dark. Get this one. That looks a bit better, and we could drag it down a bit more. And then last thing to do, the easiest way of aligning the items button is just do the whole width of this, get it snapped on, and then screw some up. Just try some quickly. Okay, so yeah, everything looks fine. Now what you do is center this horizontally, and center this vertically, and then we need to make this a white color since the background is dark, and then we do submit. You could do all caps if you want, but I think low caps will do. And that is basically a form design. One other way we can do it is have it where this button is half the width of this, so divided by 2, and we can do this divided by 2 too, and group these two together and do Alt H and center it like that. I think this will look better, and when we hover over it we could make it where it stretches out, but that will require some JavaScript. So that's our form. We can keep it simple like this. If you want to color in these input fields, what we can do is do color wheel, taking, since this is the color we've used the most, we'll use this to be our primary color, and we'll come here, and this website is great for figuring out complementary and these sort of colors. So we'll just shove this color in here and see what's the other color. We'll just switch it around a bit, and we'll copy it. And what we can do is see if this looks nice. It could do, but I think I prefer that grayed out. So keeping it clean like this, obviously you can round this up more, so we can do this to like 10, and then all of these boxes should be 10 too, and we can do we can keep button sharp, or we can do that as 10. So let's make this 10, and now we have like a circular input, but I'm informed, but I want to keep it as a square. So that's basically a design done. Now we need to move into coding it, but before we do that, we can do one more thing. We can do Figma. We can write Figma mirror, and this is why Figma is cool, because we can preview this. So we pull up Figma mirror, and it tells it to click us the frame. We click the frame, and it takes us here. Apparently this is not my. Wait, hold up. Let me try 720. I think it's 720, and let me just group all of these together. Let me see how this looks. Yeah, I'm pretty sure it's 720. So if that is the case, I do need to change the dimensions of this rectangle to, let's just do 400 and 600, and we'll control H this, and we'll drag it towards the middle. Grab all these, drag it down, and what we need to do, we pull up all these. I'll make this is 325 instead, and so this will be centered. centering for some reason. This will be centered right here, and we'll do this 325 divided by 2, and this will, yeah, so that did that for us. And last thing is to collect all of these names, move it over here, and yeah, that should fit now. So if we look at this, everything looks fine, it looks same as usual, but apart from this, there we are, we've centered that, so it looks fine. Now we can look at it in here. For some reason this doesn't look like it's centered, so yeah, that's why it's good to check on the on here. So that looks centered. It still have to go up and down a bit, but it still acts like a form. It's now me being a bit complex, but I need to, this looks too thin, so I want to make it a bit more wide, and that what have I pulled up? So that looks better. I need to wait for this to load and then close it. So now what we can do is code this out, and we'll code this out once I've closed this PyCharm. It takes a while to load. So we can just go on Visual Studio Code right now and see what we need to do. So we need to create a HTML file first. So I'll call this index HTML, but HTML doesn't work for me. Oh my PyCharm, so I should delete that, to be fair. Now, yeah, I've created a index of HTML because HTML doesn't work. HTML works. So for you it'll be HTML, but HTML for me, I don't know why it does that, but I have to use HTML. So I'm gonna pull up the boilerplate HTML and call this form. And now we need to create. I'm gonna create a folder called assets, and right in there, we're not using, since we're not using any images, actually we don't need assets. We can just make a style.css and link that up, and do it like that. And now what we need to do, we'll just do a quick hello world, see if it's working quickly, and we'll need to open with live server, pull up the page, we'll close these quickly, and it shows it's working. And now we just need to do our normal prefixes styling. So we do everything, margin 0, padding would also be 0, on border box, no, it's the box sizing, border box, there you are. So now this, yeah, this is hugging that on the left, hugging the top. Now one last thing we need to do is get the font, so we need to go back to Google fonts and go to here. We'll need to download Poppins, grab this, and if we get the regular one, I think we also get the bolded one now, but since we're just using regular, that'll be fine. We'll get the embedded and copy and paste this, and we'll just do body font family here, will be this. Oh, hold up, so we need to put this in a HTML first, and then font family will just be Poppins. And if you come back here, yep, it should be Poppins. And what we can do now is code out our form. So we basically have one big div, the background is a div, so we need to, I'll make a container, and then we'll do dot form, and we'll keep it like that for now, and we'll do dot form. And what's sweet was Figma is that we can just copy and paste this code, and remove what's not necessary. So we don't need the position absolute, we don't need the left, and we don't need the we don't need that, and that's about it. So let's have a look at this, and we have this form now, and what we do need to do now is have a, well, before we do that, let's just do the background, and the background was easy, so we just grab the form and we can grab the background link, and this is why Figma is really good, since we can just copy paste that, and the body will be that background, and we come back here and we have this. We'll also want to do it where it's so to be specific with these dimensions, I just want to copy and paste this, and that should, yeah, we will have to go up and down a couple of times, but that's fine. So now we've got everything set up. We need to center this horizontally and center this vertically, and how we do this is pretty simple, but we need to do it where it's also able to be responsive, so when we shorten the page, it'll still be in the center. So what we can do is have it where there's two ways of doing this. I'll show you the simple way and I'll show you the other way. This is the simple way. We can go to the body, since we only have actually no, it'll be the container dot container. So since the container is holding the form and there's only one element inside the container, we can just do display flex, and then, or we can do display grid, but flex would be a bit more easier in this situation. And then we can just by content center and align item center, and we've got it not in the center apparently. Let me quickly do overflow hidden, overflow X it would be, and we've got a center horizontally, but we need to have a center vertically. So I think let's try grid item. Oh, I see what I've done wrong. X. Wait, actually no. Okay, so we'll just do the other method since this one's not working. So this other method we can do it as we do position. We'll do as a position relative, and then what we can do is do left 50%, and then right top 50%. So we come back here, but you see it doesn't align it to the center, because what's happening with CSS, this part, the left hand side, is getting aligned at the center because it's counting on the left hand side, but we want the middle to be aligned at the center. So what we can do is to transform, translate, and then we do -50%, and then -50%, because we need to account for the left and top. And what if we just do positive, translate X, we've done that, and Still going up. Do 25. Let's see what happens here. Positive 25. Wait, does the bomb 50% even do anything? I'm pretty sure it's not doing anything here. Let's delete these two. And yeah, it seems like it's not doing anything. What we need to do here then, so is to do it as, yeah, we'll just do as grid instead then. For some reason it's not working out for me here, so figure out grid, display equals grid, and then grid template column would be 1, grid template rows would be 1. What I thought that would be actually. And let's just pull up this tool, and it should be, no, that should be in the dot container actually. The dot container. And now let's pull up the dot container. So if we have one fr, it should give us 2 columns. Yeah, so that's giving us 2 columns, so this is working correctly. So now what we can do here is justify self center. See if this works. Yeah, now we're centered it, and now we can do align self center, and that's still not working. And it's not working because I see exactly why it's not working. Dot container needs to be the height of the page, because yeah, actually not here. Now it's centered. There you are. Yeah, it wasn't working because the dot container wasn't big enough. So that's, yeah, that was the issue I was having with all the other examples. So we've fixed that out now. We've got it centered. That took too long, but at least we got it centered. Now what we can do, so why this is great, is we can just move this and it'll always be centered. Hold up with me. And it's not always being centered. Why is that? Oh yeah, so it'll have to be, okay, so change up the code. We'll do 1 VH, 100 VH, and the height will be 100 VH, and then we reload. Let's change the height of this to so now we need to make it a width of 100%, and now it's being centered every time. And this is happening because now we've set the body as 100%, and 100 VH is the max height, and 100 VH is max height here. So it's getting responsive, so it's gonna always be centered of the screen. And we can have it where we can do the width of a certain percentage, like 20%, 50%, but I'll just hard code it as those numbers. Now we need to do the input forms, and we do that in index.html, and we need to create a form, and we'll have it no action for now. We don't need to give this class, so we need to give it a label, username, and then we need to give it an input of text. ID will be user, so it's gonna be for user, and then what we'll need to do is class, yeah, class. will be equal to username. See if this has worked, and yeah, we've got that working. Let's quickly put this. We'll add two classes to it, so username and input, and then we'll do class here because username label, and we'll do labels. And what we can do here is labels and inputs, so dot labels and then dot inputs. We can do display block, and now they're on top of each other, so that's what we wanted. Now what we need to do is all the inputs, we want it to we want to have all these properties. We can delete these and we can delete that. Then it should have that property, and then what we need to do is have the text have these properties. The reason I don't have font family here is because I specified up here we want every text in the thing to have pop-ins. So we've got that, and what we can do is I think it was margin bottom, and it was margin bottom of 10 pixels, I'm pretty sure it was, and now it's 10 pixels away. And we can have it where we make a div around this, so dot from block, margin top of, let's say 20 pixels, and yeah, we basically give some space. But now we need to align it to the center, and what we can do is do the same thing with the display flex with the form, because the form is gonna center the form block, so we can call the form, and we don't need any dots because this is the element, and we do display flex, and then we do justify content center. That should do it. Yeah, and we've centered it. And what we can do now is add our other elements, so we copy and paste this. We'll do email, delete this, and then do this with a capital E, and that's happening. And that's happening because we need to do it with flex direction, so the flex direction should be column, because default is by default it's horizontal, so we need a column, and now it's not aligned anymore. So how we do that is, let's have a look at this. Add this and put it that way. Delete this, and we can do self. Okay, let's just do grid because flex is not working for me today for some reason. Grid, we'll do grid again, and we don't need this flex direction anymore. And there we go. Grid always it just works for me for some reason. Flex makes issues for me. So we've got email and username. Now we need to do password and reconfirm password. Copy and paste this. For oh crap. So that should do all of it, and this should be email. and I think there is a password type. Should be a password type. So if I write here, yes, secret, and we do this one as a capital P, and we do one more time, and it'll be a confirm password. We don't need to have confirm password here, and this one will be linked to that. Just to make it more simple, we'll just do C password, and so this will be that will be that. Oh wait, hold on, that should be lowercase and this should be and this is not working because what we need to do is go to labels again. We don't need a width, to be fair, we can leave it at that, and now it'll do that. One last thing will be a button of submit, and what we can do here is make a button. So button submit, and give that class of btn. Give me submit, and we've got a submit button here, so we want that to be .btn and what we can do is also take these and it's not centering for some reason, and we'll see why it's not centering soon, but we need to fix the border. We'll do border none, and then we'll give it some margin top of 20 pixels, and then it's doing that. So we don't really need to center it through grid. What we could do is just do position relative, and as I showed you last time, we're going to do 50% and transform translate x, and it'll be minus 50%, and will be centered automatically for us. And we're going to point a cursor, so whenever we point on top of it, cursor pointer, so it's cursor pointer. And so whenever we put our cursor on top of it, it gives us submit, and we can write in our input. So we'll do an action where we can make it more specific where all of these are required. So we can do required here, so required, and put required in all of these. So when we submit this, it'll ask us to enter these fields, and you can see when we enter anything it's really small. So what we can do is in all the labels, we can come in here and we can do font size is equal, no, it's not labels, it's inputs. So in all the inputs we can do font size, and we do same size as the labels. That's not working, so it's pixels, and there you are. And what we can do also is do padding left of 10 pixels, and now whenever we write anything it'll have a padding and we're able to write it. So we'll do test user, and we'll do tu.gmail.com, and we'll do password, and then we'll do password, and we found a bug already, and that's important to check out. So we forgot to make this a password field. So because it's a C password, so it should be a password field. And let's try that again. Test user TU and password. Submit this, and okay. But now we basically have it where we've created our form. We can make it more like wider or more with height, but this is basically done. We can add more JavaScript here, or we can add JavaScript on this, but I won't be adding any JavaScript. So this is basically the video. Is there anything else? Oh yeah, we need to test if it's responsive, and it seems like it is. So it's moving around like it should do, and we can check the phone. Okay, on the phone it looks okay. So maybe it's best to do it like um find. So okay, this looks like a 40. Okay, so this looks like 40% width and 70% height. So we can go back to the here, so we can do 40% and we can do 70% here. See how this looks. That does not look how it should do. We'll do 90. Yeah, that looks more how it should. And if we well, I know the form buttons won't move, but the background will scale, so it's scaling. So yeah, scaling. Now what we need to do is make the inputs also scale with it, so we can see this is like 70% width and 20% height, so 70% width and it'll be 20% height, and maybe it's gonna be a bit more longer. We'll do 90 again, and let me see 110. I think 110 is basically what it looks like. Okay, perhaps it's better if we leave it like this. Leave it like that, so the form is responsive, and when it hits 935 pixels, so we can make a media query here. Media screen and max width, I think it was 935, and 35 pixels. And what we'll do here is actually what we'll do here is body display none to see if it works. Yeah, so it's working. Drag it out. Yep. So now what we can do is copy and paste this essentially. Find the labels, the inputs, I mean, copy and paste this. I have it where the width will be 165 and 20 pixels high. So now this looks wonky. Why is that doing that? Confirm. Right, so I think it's to do something to the form block. Oh, I see, because this is too long. So that's doing that because the text is so long. So we'll do it where the text label is on the label. We're gonna do font size. I think this will work. We'll do 1.4. No, we'll do 12 WH. WH. Oh, it's VW. And I think that's it. Yeah, we've got it to work. So we've basically done that. You can move around the submit button if you want, but that's it. If you found this video helpful, make sure to subscribe, and that's it.